Hi, everybody. My name is Lisa Keslar with Keslar Insurance, and I'm here today on behalf of Cheers for Charity New Hampshire, and I am privileged to be here with my wonderful friend, Miss JoAnn Burchuk. Hey, JoAnn.
Hello, Lisa. Hi, everyone. So we are, again, excited to have another great charity to bring to you today. My name is JoAnn Burchuk, and I'm with Lighthouse Physical Therapy. And on behalf of Cheers for Charity today, we have Susan, from Victoria's Victory. And we're so excited to hear all about your organization. So please feel free to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do for the organization, and then also what the organization does.
Hello, I'm Susan Stover. I am the Executive Director for Victoria's Victory Foundation. We are based here in Stratham, New Hampshire. However, we do service the entire country. We are a nonprofit organization that focuses in on the quality of life and the day-to-day needs, education, and awareness for people living with disabilities, primarily in the mobility challenges sector. So there is so much talk about inclusion these days, but the one group that is often not thought about when it comes to inclusion are the disabled. So we are really trying to change that conversation. That is where the education and the awareness comes from. We actually are doing a program with Seacoast School of Technology. Bet you didn't know that, because we host, okay, let me restate this. We have always hosted an annual fundraiser called Costumes for a Cause in October in Portsmouth. It has been on hiatus thanks to that little COVID, but we are very, very hopeful that it's coming back this October. And we thought, what better way to involve the community and teach young people about the needs and the things that you really need to think about when planning a community event and fundraiser with people that have needs that are outside of their own, so disabled needs in terms of the functionality of a space, as well as audio-visual considerations. And so we thought, why don't we partner with them to help us from the event planning standpoint, but along the way, they can get a great education as well about people with disabilities and how to make accommodations in everyday lives for them. So that's one type of program that we run through the foundation. We also provide what we call Victory Scholarships, and people with needs for funding, whether it's for recovery training or it is for in-home care, home nursing, somebody to help with transferring somebody out of a bed, getting them showered, getting them ready for their day to go on to work or care for their child. So we consider that in-home care. And then we also do vehicle and home modifications. That might be putting a ramp on a house, that might be hand controls for somebody's vehicle, and then also mobility equipment. And that ranges from custom wheelchairs. You know, every person's built differently. So shape and size matters when it comes to a wheelchair. It's not just, you know, going over to Rite Aid and grabbing one, no offense, Rite Aid, or it might be a monoski to get somebody back on a mountain skiing. So all of that can be encompassed within mobility equipment. But those are kind of the 4 areas of funding that we focus on for Victory Scholarships. It's an application process. We have a committee that reviews them. We used to grant on a rolling schedule, and now we are going to a twice-a-year schedule. So there's a lot happening right here in Stratham, and you probably didn't even know we were here.
No, but I'm a little familiar with the a little bit of the background story, which might be interesting to share as to how the whole organization began and how you got to be where you are today.
Absolutely. So Victoria Arlen is a local New Hampshire resident, and at age 11, Victoria was a healthy young girl. She had just come back from a trip from Disney World with her family, and all of a sudden started not to feel well. And that progressed and progressed, and her body literally started to shut down. And she ended up in a vegetative state. Actually, it's called locked-in syndrome, because she could hear everything that was happening on the outside while no one knew that she was present. And so her body was not functioning physically. She could not communicate in any way. She was having a ton of seizures, and the doctors kept telling her family, there's nothing we can do here. And so her parents brought her home and cared for her, and they set up a hospital room in their house, and her brothers helped care for her. And she was in this locked in vegetative state for 4 years. And then after 4 years of hearing everything going on, but not being able to communicate, she did have a moment of blinking with her mother, and her mother said, I knew you were in there. But along the way, because Victoria was present in her own mind, she kept saying to herself, if I come out of this, I am going to do something for the world and help others. And she would pray to God about it and say, I know that I will have another purpose. Well, when she came out of her vegetative state, she was in a wheelchair. She had to learn how to eat. She had to learn how to swallow. She had to learn to speak, to read, everything. Victoria, being a triplet, wanted to graduate on time. So she went to Exeter High School in her wheelchair and worked extremely hard. Simultaneously, she started training and became a Paralympic swimmer. She won gold and silver and broke all of these records. But along this journey, she was able to see the immense amount of needs that exist for people with mobility challenges and disabilities and traumatic brain injuries and spinal cord injuries. And she realized not everybody had the support system that she did. Not everybody's parents were setting up a hospital room or, mortgaging a house to make sure that they got the needs. And so this is where her area of focus was. So after winning the Paralympics, she went out actually to LA, and she was nominated for an ESPY. And at that point, everyone at ESPN met her, loved her. She's a very charismatic young woman. There we go. And she started doing some special reporting for ESPN. She was still in her wheelchair at this time, but unbeknownst to everyone at ESPN, she was training to learn to walk again. And we are very big believers here at Victoria's Victory Foundation in activity-based movement training. So many people have this idea that if somebody's paralyzed, you just forget all about it. And we believe the exact opposite. Get different pathways happening in the body. Get that brain to send different messages down. And so Victoria, who cannot feel from the waist down as a result of her disease, which caused injuries on her spinal cord, learned to walk. And so here she is after being in a wheelchair for 10 years. She now walks, and that doesn't mean every day. Victoria is on ESPN. She's actually at X Games right now, and everybody sees her and thinks, oh, she's cured. She still has many, many obstacles she has to overcome every day. But her main goal was to help other people. So in 2017, her and her mother started Victoria's Victory Foundation to do just that. And that's why we're here. That's how it came about. Our offices are actually located behind the Project Walk Boston training facility, which is an activity-based training center. So they have clients who are in stroke recovery. They have families that come with children or adults with CP, again, traumatic brain injury, spinal cord injury, all different sorts of clients with all different sorts of needs. But the number one thing that they find here is community and people saying, yes, you are possible. We are going to help you move something, anything, whatever your goals are, we're here to help you get there.
I absolutely love the story. It's so amazing. I've met them both, and we're a physical therapy practice, so we've met with Project Walk, and such a great organization and what they're doing for people, that in giving them hope where there has been no hope. So, and I can't say enough about what they do there, and it's fantastic.
That's
And
actually one of our taglines, is that we give the gift of hope, because to your point, often if somebody is in the hospital with an injury, they're immediately told, well, you're not going to walk again. And we don't believe in that. We don't believe in always having the negative perspective. So we are actually creating a peer program so that people with like injuries or diagnoses can go in and give you the hope from the beginning, so that you do have this vision of what the future can be. It may be different, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have hope in it. So we are trying to build programs that are peer programs in that way, as well as peer programs for the caregivers, because somebody's life can change in an instant, whether it's a car accident, a fall downstairs, falling off a ladder, and that can change the trajectory of their own lives, as well as possibly a family member or a friend who becomes their caregiver. So we're also creating caregiver support programs, so that people with like experiences can relate to one another, learn things from one another, possibly learn how to work the insurance program, or who's a great physical therapist or chiropractor or masseuse to see, that type of support. So that's another program that we are building up in 2022.
which is so needed. I mean, what an exhausting job it can be to, help to continue to support that person. But it is a lot of work, and it's good to have other people that have been through that to support you through it. What are you finding are the biggest needs right now?
The biggest needs, especially coming out of the pandemic, so many people that are in these situations are immunocompromised. So a lot of people have had to stop working or have had to stop, their training. So we are seeing so many people reaching out saying, when will your scholarship program open again? And so for us, our needs are donors always. We are 100% donor based through corporations, sponsorships, as well as private donations. We have monthly donors, but really filling the needs in terms of helping people with basic equipment, and it can be something as simple as a type of grabber to help somebody get a mug out of their cabinet. So, but it's really the day-to-day that are not thought of. And there's so much money in this space that's put into research. And we, of course, believe in research for spinal cord injuries, for traumatic brain injuries, cell rejuvenation, but we really want to focus in on the day-to-day, because those are the things that are so often forgotten about. So, but that is and I think awareness for people. Like I mentioned, there's so much in society talking about inclusion and accessibility to all, but accessibility to somebody who has mobility challenges is something that we all need to think about. We recently did a post that we're like, it's a beautiful snowy day, but it's important you get out there and you shovel your sidewalk and shovel your store entrance so that everybody has access, because what is beautiful can also become difficult. We always talk about some of the greatest things came out of the pandemic in terms of curbside for shopping, for grocery shopping, all of these things that should have existed, and been accessible to the disabled community all along came up because the able-bodied community no longer had the access that they were used to. So I hope a lot of these programs stay in place. So you'll see me advocating for that.
That's great. Yeah, no, a lot of good changes have come out of that, and just this ability, even just here, so, being able to use Zoom for these things versus having to physically get together. But that's a good point with now all these curbside pick up things, it does make it a lot easier for those that have mobility issues to be able to get those things a lot easier.
Absolutely.
Mm.
You know, we have a saying in our house that everybody's body works differently. And I think that that's another thing, you know, a need is people need to recognize that a person in a wheelchair or with crutches or with a limp, that doesn't mean that they have other limitations. That doesn't mean they can't be the best accountant in town or that they aren't a straight A student. And so that's definitely an inclusion piece that we also want to kind of change people's mindsets about. And that's something that is a work in progress, but I think we're starting to see good progress there.
Are you finding you're getting maybe some sponsors on because you're a national organization, to open you up to some larger opportunities with big name companies that can, you know, help you?
That's what we're
Financially.
hoping. That's definitely what we're hoping for. It's definitely what we're pushing for. We are a small but mighty team. You're looking at half of it. So myself, and then we have an operations manager. And so, but yes, one of the goals is we're trying to reach out to companies like New Balance, Toyota, all of these companies that have programming already developed that have kind of mobility focuses, and we're trying to make them see, hey, we're here, let's partner, we've got great ideas. So hopefully we'll start to see more and more of that come in the future. We have had such amazing support here in the community with local businesses. We are so thankful for all the support that we have had right from the beginning, because I think people can, once they hear the need, they recognize, yes, that is there. So, and as much as we can do in terms of disability visibility, people want to attach to that because they too want to be agents of change. And so, to your point, though, we're hoping that eventually we'll have all these national sponsors that can help us out as well. So if you know any, send them my way.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because we talked to Habitat for Humanity, and they're, you know, starting to have some smaller projects other than houses, and like building ramps and,
yes,
you know, things like that. So, you know, maybe some of those organizations may be good to
yes, we've
actually
we've had a really nice partnership with Habitat for Humanity. They are amazing, and to your point, they are working on some things like, so we've been in an evaluation program with them for a couple of our different scholarships, which is awesome because they also have such a broad footprint, and it's great. And another thing, you know, just from even in your business, is we're able to kind of tap into like mobility. Right in Londonderry, there's Mobility Works, and they are all about vehicles for whether they're handicap vans or if they're doing the modifications. Well, they have locations all across the country. So building these partnerships, we're able to tap in and help the people. But we do help a large majority right here in New Hampshire, especially being New Hampshire based, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's great. Lisa, did you have something you wanted to ask? Sorry, I've been taking over the whole thing.
This has been fantastic. No, I think Suzanne, I just love your passion. Susan, I love your passion. I love the fact that you guys have so many sort of the buckets, you know, the columns already lined up to help people that fit this niche. And it's so needed, right? All of us know somebody who has some sort of limitation, whether it's, you know, me as my father, even my niece, both have issues where, you know, entering certain buildings is really difficult, right? They need special equipment. You know, all these things are so important, and there's these things out there that can be of resources to people, and you're doing an awesome job of making that connection. So I'm so grateful for all that you do.
Thank you. We're trying. And it's interesting you say that about kind of having our buckets. We had to learn along the way. We came out of the gates like, let's help everyone with everything. Give that person a van. And we really, over the past 4 years, or going into our 5th year, have really honed down based on what we really saw were the important day-to-day needs that somebody has. And that's kind of why we really focus on the 4 areas of funding, and then starting these community service programs. And like I said, getting in with the youth is really important, because then you're shaping them for the future and how they perceive everything moving forward. When they get, God bless you, to university or to their jobs, they're going to be thinking about these things that they may never have. So and I definitely say it's fluid. We really try and build based on what the needs are. And right now, bringing back, scholarships and opening up our scholarship program is definitely a big need. So to help people again.
Do you have any fundraisers? Do you have any fundraisers coming up that people should be aware of?
Yeah, so our big one is Costumes for a Cause, and it's October 21st. And it may sound like that's really far off, but as you probably know, in the fundraising and event world, that will be here tomorrow. It is so much fun. It is a costume party. It is a really interactive event. It's, no offense, not your like stuffy sit down, rubber chicken dinner. There is dancing, there are pay to play games, just the fact that everybody shows up in costume right away is the level set for everybody, because it does not matter if you are showing up in a chair or if you're showing up walking. Now you all have this common ground of the costumes, and that was a big piece of that as well. But we also all really love Halloween here, but that's our biggest one. And then we're kind of slowly moving back out, out of kind of hiding. So hopefully we'll have more to announce. We use our social media, especially Instagram and Facebook, to put out everything. So we encourage everyone to follow us on Victoria's Victory Foundation, both on Instagram, Facebook. We do have a LinkedIn page. We do have a Twitter page, VVF Victory. And we really try and keep all of our messaging there so everybody knows what's coming up. But tickets are already on sale for Costumes for a Cause. You can make your plans for October 28th now.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun.
It really is. So, and we're excited because we're at the new Envoy venue in Portsmouth. So that will be really fun to use that space, and it'll be really fun to see what these kids from SST come up with to help us with set design, everything. So for the whole night. So that will be a really great spin on it this year. That's unique.
That's fantastic. I love how you're just collaborating all over the place. So smart.
Trying. Anybody that will talk to me, as you can see, I'm a talker. So I'm like, hey, what do you think of this idea? And really, I applaud SST because they were like, yes, let's do this. So we've actually been going in and meeting with the marketing and the digital arts group since September. So it's been, and we've brought them out to the location so they could get kind of their creative juices flowing. So it's really exciting. So, and I like I said, I applaud SST for being so open to doing this with us. Hopefully this will lead to a really fun future partnership for years to come.
Fantastic. Well, Susan, this has been awesome. There's so much goodness coming out of you and out of this organization. And we are so grateful that you shared it with us today and that we get to share it with others. So thank you very, very much for your time.
Cheers to you guys for, cheering charities, because we are so grateful. All of us in the nonprofit space are super grateful. So thank you very much for taking the time to talk with us.
Thank you for joining us. Yeah, this has been a lot of fun, and, our pleasure to highlight all these great organizations, and you are one of the family now.
Great. Thank you. Happy to be here.